What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy TD. Just finished watching UFC 317 that took place in Azerbaijan, in Baku. We watched Khalil Rountree pretty much put on a show against Jamahal Hill. Now, for many, this might be surprising, but to me, at least just watching Khalil Rountree grow over the years, this was not surprising to me. Um, there were a lot of comments prior to this fight that, Jamahal Hill was going to knock out Khalil Rountree, or people also mentioned they don't see Khalil Rountree going all the way to the distance, that if the fight ever got to the distance, Khalil Rountree was going to lose because his cardio is terrible and he was going to gas out. Um, what else was out there? He doesn't use his leg kicks. He's not as accurate. He gives up, like, so many things that I heard against Khalil Rountree going into this fight. Now, if you've been watching Khalil Rountree from the Alex Pereira fight, from the Smith fight, right, and just all the fights prior to that, right, Khalil Rountree has done a great job showing literally on every level he's climbed, even though he did have some setbacks, on every level he's climbed, he's shown us great development, right? And you can tell from his plan and literally what he does. If you watch his YouTube channel, or you watch his some of his interviews, you can tell he's calculated. He knows exactly what he needs to do to get to this level. He knows what he needs to do to stay at this level, and he also knows what he needs to do to win at this level. So after the Pereira fight, he went ahead to work with the trainer who trained Jonathan Haggerty at One Championship. Muay Thai guy, also an MMA guy. I know he did some work at Syndicate Gym. Khalil Rountree is calculated, he's focused. He came there to pretty much put on a school display, or just a fantastic display of work from Khalil Rountree. Now let's talk about the fight, right? Jamahal Hill, in my opinion, didn't do much in this fight, right? Not just my opinion. I mean, this is fact. Like, we could literally replay it, and you could watch it. If you did watch it, you see Jamahal Hill didn't have a lot of output in this fight. I don't know what plan he came in with, what pace he thought he was going to fight Khalil Rountree at, but whatever that plan was, after round one, he needed to throw that stuff away. But he didn't. He stuck to the same game plan, and he got dropped 4 times and barely had any output. I mean, there were flashes of Jamahal Hill, right, with accuracy. Some of those came in display with some of the straight punches. But again, nothing Khalil Rountree couldn't handle. Khalil Rountree put on a display of athleticism. He showed us that he has great cardio. Great kicks, great kicks. We're talking about the left kick, the roundhouse kick to the body, and also the oblique kick to the knees. He also did a great job kicking Jamahal Hill's leg, right? I think it was about the third round, you could literally see Jamahal Hill's leg pretty much swollen up. At that point, he had to switch stances, right? So Khalil Rountree came in with a lot of outputs, um, a lot of significant strikes. I mean, sometimes you could tell, like, he wanted to pretty much shut the lights out for Jamahal Hill, right, with those overhands. He did a great job countering whenever Jamahal Hill came in, and he pretty much throw anything where he leaned too much, punished him with a nice hook, dropped him with a couple of hooks, dropped him with a couple hooks. With Jamahal Hill, pretty much got dropped about four times during this fight, right? And he kept trying to do the "I'm okay, I'm gonna wave my thumb," or "I'm gonna laugh at this." Yeah, and if you're a fighter and you've been through this, that's just the way to boost yourself up. You're really going through it, but you just want, people around you and to just make the situation feel a little bit better than it really is, right? So Jamahal Hill, I think from now he needs to. Again, this is not the end of his career in any way, shape, or form. He's still a great fighter. I just think Khalil Rountree is a more serious fighter who has also shown a lot of growth um, over the years, right? And Jamal Hill, Khalil Rountree has been in the UFC almost what 10 years now, right? He's pretty much a vet, right? And we've seen pretty much all phases of Khalil Rountree so far. So great job by Khalil Rountree. Um, Great precision, great volume. The pace of which Jamahal Hill came to fight was perfect for Khalil Rountree. If you're gonna come out there, um, slow pace with a Muay Thai fighter who does know how to strike, man, you're gonna be it's just gonna be a long day for you, and which is what. So I think Jamahal Hill needs to go back to the kitchen and go work up another plan, another recipe. I think he could do better with his athleticism. He didn't show any type of athleticism. Cardio wise, we couldn't really tell. I mean, he did fight for 5 rounds, but honestly, he didn't fight for 5 rounds. I don't want to say he stood there, but he did throw some strikes, some significant strikes, right? But he didn't do much. There wasn't much output. He was pretty much taken to school by Khalil Rountree, which is, in my opinion, is expected. And everyone that was saying Khalil Rountree is overhyped, I think actually the Jamahal Hill might be the one who's overhyped. Don't get me wrong, he is a champion, forever be a champion. But I think whatever he did to get there, I think Jamahal Hill thought that was enough, which is not enough, right? You still have to push, whether that's your conditioning, you can see in the shape that he came in with, compared to what Khalil Rountree came in with. You could just tell who's the more, I don't want to use the word dedicated, but pretty much who's the more consistent to what their job is, right? So I think Jamahal Hill needs to do some soul searching, do a lot of athleticism work. I think he could benefit from that, and also just get in better shape. And maybe he just needs a different scenery. I'm not sure how to go about that. I mean, but from what we saw, um, this version of Jamahal Hill is not going to fight for the championship belt. But this version of Khalil Rountree will definitely be a contender, if not a champion, at some point in the lightweight division. So congrats to Khalil Rountree. I'm excited to see what the future holds for Khalil Rountree in the future. What the future holds for Khalil Rountree. Um, but yeah, so we can move on to the other fight. Again, unanimous decision for Khalil Rountree. Did a great job. Came there to fight. He didn't come there to play. Did his thing, killed it, and pretty much that's it, right? Did a great job. Now we also had Rafael Fiziev fight Ignacio Bahamondes. In my opinion, this fight was kind of a stalemate. But Rafael Fiziev did grind out the last 50 seconds of the third round, which but I think it was a takedown, and he got some good hits there. So pretty much that's what gave him the win, in my opinion. Um, but then again, pretty even fight to some extent. Fiziev did have some like total strike wise, he did output a lot more compared to Bahamondes, but Bahamondes, in my opinion, landed the more heavier shots during this exchange, right? Bahamondes needs to do a better job um, with setting up his kicks, right? He's the longer fighter, he's the taller fighter. Fiziev is about 5'8", Bahamondes is, I believe, 6'3". He needs to do a better job of maintaining distance, which he did. He did maintain distance, but I think his timing and his setups just weren't there from a setup perspective. He didn't do a great job setting up those kicks. Those were beautiful, beautiful, beautiful kicks he was throwing. I just wish he landed them, but he pretty much didn't land most of his kicks. At least the head kicks he was trying to go for, he didn't get to land those. We saw some teeps. We saw some leg kicks. He did land those. His jab and his straight pretty accurate, pretty precise, very heavy shots. But Fiziev is also just really, really good and did a great job. Anytime those leg kicks were or those head kicks were coming, Fiziev just knew when it was the timing was just perfect. He just pretty much just leaned back and weave. Even when Bahamondes tried to, one time he did try to sweep him to throw a roundhouse kick to pretty much his head, a head kick, and then he missed, and then he tried to come back with that same leg and just try to do a hook kick or something, or he was trying to do something to the face. I can't remember what it was, but again, Fiziev literally saw that and pretty much escaped that again, right? So Bahamondes needs to just do a better job setting up his kicks. I feel like from a speed perspective, the fight wasn't too fast for Bahamondes, right? I thought this was gonna be the speed of Fiziev was just gonna be overwhelming for Bahamondes, but the speed seems to almost be equal. I would say Fiziev definitely could. Well, I did a better job just moving around and stuff like that. But the speed, in my opinion, for a 6'3" guy, he did pretty good. Tried to match the output of Rafael Fiziev. Um, but overall, I'll say pretty good fight. Just wish I wanted Bahamondes to win this one, but again, he just needs to do a better job setting up those kicks. He's pretty young, so he does have a bright future in front of him. There's so many more tools he needs to add to his tool belt, and he'll be just fine as long as he keeps growing. What is next for Fiziev? Not sure. We're gonna see what fight they try to make for that. Um, but yeah. All right, over here we got Curtis Blades and Rizvan. Um, so I'd say in this fight, um, Curtis Blades did a great job in the first round with his wrestling. But I feel like his second and third round, he was definitely tired. And you could literally see because he'd been gassed from pretty much fighting or wrestling throughout the first round, right? Um, Rizvan was definitely the more powerful fighter in a sense where he did more damage to Curtis Blades. But from a significant strike perspective, I think Rizvan took this one in terms of damage. Um, some of the control stuff that we saw from a wrestling perspective, Curtis Blades wasn't really active in that sense. So maybe from a stats perspective, because what I'm looking at now, total strikes of 101 and 58 for Rizvan, and it looks like Curtis Blades also has what about 10 or 11 more significant strikes compared to Rizvan. So probably why they gave him the win. But again, Rizvan did a better job when it comes to damage and actual significant strikes that landed that did a lot of damage. So in the eyes, at least, it looked like Rizvan should have had this one. But again, we don't know. I can't, apart from the stats, I can't really tell you why Curtis Blades had this one. Obviously, he has the stats to back that up. Um, but in my opinion, Rizvan did a lot more damage in this fight. What does this mean for the future of the heavyweights? Honestly, the only heavyweights I'm interested in watching in this sense is Cyril Gane, Tom Aspinall, and a couple more guys. Um, Curtis Blades, he's a top talent in the UFC in the heavyweight division, but I just don't see him contending for the title with this type of performances. Like I just don't see him beating some of those guys that I just mentioned previously to get the title. But overall, great fight card. Looking forward to the next one on June 28th. We're gonna be seeing our boy Charles Oliveira take on Ilia Topuria. So it's gonna be a great fight, and I'm also gonna cover um, after watching the fight. Well, I'll see you guys later, and on to the next one.